So today we're going to draw, for our final drawing, we're going to draw this snail. And I quite like this guy because it's all in black lines and it's got this really cool, this really interesting shell with all these contour lines on it. See how they're sort of rounded and they sort of, they make it feel like it's a rounded shape. And then it's got all these cool like scales, or like slimy shapes on there that look like sort of like a snail. Okay, so this is what we're going to draw. So get yourself set up. Now the challenge for today is you have to try and draw this without using a pencil. I want you to just draw it straight with the pen. It is a little bit harder because you're not going to be able to rub anything out. Cool. But it'll be fun. It'll be great. Okay. So first things first, let's start off with the shell. So we start off with the kind of curve of the shell. Now the shell is essentially just a big spiral. So it's going to spiral down. Now we want it to try and get skinnier as it spirals down. Just like that. Now if yours isn't, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, so it might be slightly different, and that's fine. It's the shell sort of connects up here as well. It kind of goes like this and curves around a little bit so that our little snail guy kind of sits inside the shell. And the slimy bit, actually snails are pretty gross, aren't they? Pretty slimy. The slimy bit goes along pretty much just missing the shell. It's a bit rounded. And then just at the very front we've got two little antennae. And then it comes up here, it's got like a big long one. One's in front of the other one, okay? So you've got to do one there and one there. And then our other slimy bit comes in from that side. The tail sort of just curls up at the back, connecting up at the back. And then the last thing to draw is just, I guess this bit here where it must be like where it's kind of attached inside the shell. Yeah, cool. Are those its eyes? Those little antenna bits, are they eyes? I don't know, can snails even see? I don't even know. Okay. If you want to make it look cute, you could just give it little eyes. Just do two little eyes. And then maybe just do like a little eyebrow over the top like that. That always looks quite cute. But you don't have to do that if you don't want it to look cute. We're going to do, we'll start off with some shading first, okay? And then we'll do the shell. So the obvious dark spots are underneath the shell here. And then kind of along here. And also the bottom, it'll be darker along the very bottom edge. So what we can do is we're just going to use some cross hatching. So if you watch what I do now, some lines like this. And then just some lines going in the opposite direction as well. Just creates a little bit of shading to start off. We're going to try and draw the texture on the body, but we'll just add this tone in first. So then it's also quite dark here along that ridge where it goes underneath or into the shell. Just add some cross hatching in there as well. And It doesn't really show it on this picture, but I reckon it's going to be a little bit shaded around the bottom of the snail, because it's kind of curving under it. So just add a few lines like this. I'm assuming there's some shading underneath the shell as well, so like this. He looks very cute. Well, kind of cute. Kind of gross. Okay, so what we have to do with the shell is we want it to be curving the whole way around. Now, do you notice how in the middle of this outside bit, it's kind of changes direction? So in the middle, it's actually level. So it's a straight line like that. So you can draw in a straight line. And then everywhere below that, it starts to curve down like this. So what I like to do is I just do a few curves around. But then remember, as soon as you get to the middle line, because that's the eye line, okay? And then it curves up from there. So from here, oh, whoops, it curves the opposite way, like this. It is a little bit complicated, but if you get the effect right, the whole thing's going to look like quite more realistic. Cool. So you can just do a few just to show you or remind you the direction. They kind of, yeah, when they get down to this part here, they kind of just follow the shape of the shell. So whatever shape you drew here. And then they fan out into that bit. Cool. So the same deal here, it's going to be curving upwards and around. And then when it gets to the middle here, it's going to flip and then it's going down. And then what I do in the very middle, I would just keep this point here and then just do lines that kind of fan out from that point like that. As it gets really small. Okay, so once you kind of got your guidelines in, then just start at one end. It's very similar to the mushroom that we drew before. Just start at one end and just add your lines nice and close together, keeping the same sort of contour lines. I mean, you can space them out more if you want to. I guess if you space them out more, then they'll be lighter, so the shell will be lighter, or it'll appear lighter. Cool, you're doing great, guys. Just keep drawing in those lines. I think I kind of feel like pen drawing is faster than pencil drawing, but maybe it feels a bit slower because you have to draw each line separately. Whereas pencil you can just sort of color in with. So maybe it, yeah, I don't know. You guys can tell me what you think, whether you think pen drawing is faster or pencil drawing is faster. When you get to the middle of the spiral, try and make the lines really close together. So it will get a bit darker, but also it will just look smaller, more detailed. Okay. I'm just going to do a couple of things. You might need to spend some more time on this, but what I want to do is see how the shell looks quite flat at the moment. Even though we've got the contour lines on there, the shell feels a little bit flat. So what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of shading around the bottom of each swirl. Okay, so, and when I say shading, I mean like a little bit of this kind of cross hatching. So it's just lines going at like a different angle. Do you see that effect? So it just sort of makes that bottom part feel a bit darker. And I'll do it at the bottom of this shell too. There we go. That just makes it look a bit more 3D, I think. Cool. All right, so if you want to do some of these shapes on here, it's really just kind of little shapes. They sort of connect up to each other, so they start off sort of big down the middle of the head like that. And then they sort of curve down towards the nose. If that's a nose, I don't know. They get smaller as they go down anyway. So it's up to you how much detail you want to put in. You can finish it pretty much as it is now, or you can just add in some of this texture. I find this sort of stuff pretty fast, so see how I'm just drawing the shapes like really pretty quickly. You don't need to be too fussy about it, you don't need to be too detailed, just like, you know. You don't even have to cover the whole thing, you can just sort of do some, and it gives that impression of the texture. See, same with the tail. I don't think snails have a tail, but you know what I mean. And this bit here, we can just have some lines going down like this. Cool. And then to finish it off, we're just going to add a little bit more, just a little bit of tone on the eyeball sticks. And just end up with some dots. Because it's quite skinny, so we don't really want too much heavy tone on there, but we can just do some dots to give it some texture. Nice.